Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 11 here in One Hub Racing here for Tier 2. My name is, of course, Michael Edwards, going to be taking you through the action here tonight around the fantastic Silverstone circuit. And of course, last week out, we did see JM take the Drivers' Championship. So the Drivers' Championship may not be up for grabs here tonight, but there is still a lot to fight for. But before we jump into the action here in qualifying, we are a little bit delayed, and I do wish to apologise for that. But before we get anything else, or before anything really gets underway, we'll go through the sponsors and partners first, just quickly get that sorted. And obviously to our fantastic sponsors at Next Level Racing, providing some fantastic prizes for our drivers here. Obviously to Aztec as well as Pure Sim Gear, and of course the Mystery Sim Box, Mystery Shirt Box, and of course to our partners at Vespertin, to ERT, and of course to Sim Grid. But of course, as we come into tonight, it is of course Silverstone. It is round number 11, and in terms of the Drivers' Championship, I mean, we know that the JM sealed the championship last time out at round number 10 at Singapore. So let's have a quick look at the standings, and let's have a little peek and see what's going on there, as I'm just going to make this full screen. 2 seconds, sorry for the rushing around, guys. But of course, yeah, JM obviously took away the championship win last time out. Currently we have Senna in P2, and of course he's only 4 points ahead of the Mata, who is in P3, and 109 points for Oshin in P4, with Cam K Mum on 104 points in P5. 86 points for Lawrence in P6, and of course Miami in 7th on 83 points. 71 points apiece for both Jonas and Redmat in 8th and 9th respectively. 63 points for Specialist, and of course Quinn in 11th on 48 points. 41 points for Key, 30 points for Cam Rules. Of course Wesley retiring from the season on 26 points, and of course we got Ali B on 23 points. 21 points for Justin. Ramith currently in 17th on 17 points, so nice little symmetry right there. Apex of course left the championship as well on 13 points, and he's tied with Gasserman, who is in 19th on 13 points as well. Same with Jordan, who unfortunately has left the league as well, obviously on 12 points in 20th. And of course we've got Thomas on 5 points, Ride Dog on 5 points, Speed Nighton on 4, and of course Fatality on 3 points. But let's have a look at the constructors standings, because of course that is still up for grabs. Of course with next week, the final race of the season in a fortnight's time being a sprint race, there is a little bit more up for grabs in that race. But of course it is Red Bull Racing that lead the way on 213 points, 201 points for the Scuderia AlphaTauris in second place, 195 points for the Williams Racing F1 team in P3, and of course 183 points for the Alfa Romeo F1 team in P4. So these are the 4 teams to really challenge in the constructors. Of course we got the Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 team on 134 points in P5, in a bit of a no man's land right now. Of course they have a decent gap to Aston Martin F1 team on 96 points in P6. And of course we have a tight fight between the McLaren F1 team and the Haas F1 team in 7th and 8th respectively. Only 4 points separating these two teams, 75 points for McLaren and of course 71 for Haas. The Alpine F1 team on 53 points, and of course the Scuderia Ferraris all the way down in P10 on 49 points. So it is looking like it is going to be a tricky one for the Ferraris this season. But of course the top 4 teams in the constructors fight and we're going to be seeing how they get on. Of course, as mentioned, there is another race to go. Let's quickly have a look at the calendar, and of course that will be on the 12th of November in 2 weeks time, as we take in the season finale at the Circuit of the Americas. But tonight we are here at the home of British Motorsport. It is of course the Silverstone Circuit, and looking at the track in question, 5.8 kilometers, almost 5.9 kilometers, 3.6 miles in length, 18 corners, 8 to the left and 10 to the right, and of course some infamous corners there. Obviously first sector, Abbey Farm Village, loop entry, obviously down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands left field, and of course Woodcut coming onto the National Straight, in towards Cops at turn 9, and of course into Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, the tricky section in the middle sector, onto the Hanger Straight then as you run down in towards Stowe, turn 15, and of course into the Vale Chicane, 16, 17, and of course around Club, the final corner onto the I believe it's actually called the Hamilton Straight, now the start finish straight. So yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one, and without further ado, let's quickly bring you up to date with drivers who are serving their engine penalties here tonight. Of course, we got Key, who is serving his engine penalty here tonight, and of course Justin, who is also serving a engine penalty. Neither are currently in the lobby, which is unfortunate, but they scheduled to serve their engine penalties here tonight. Without further ado, let's head to the action out on track, as we do have just under 10 minutes to go in qualifying. So we got the first set of times that have come in, and it is Miami who currently leads the way on a 25.7, just ahead of JM, the champion, on 25.8 in P2. Senna, who's currently P2 in the standings, on 28.2 as well. Only 6 thousandths of a second separating JM and Senna there between P2 and P3. P4 currently going the way of Cam K-Man with a 25.8, and of course then there's a bit of a gap back to Lawrence on a 26.5, 26.7 for Oshin, with 26.7 for Fatality, 26.8 for Thomas, 29.7 for Jonas, who we're currently on board with as he's coming to the end of his lap, as my PC makes a random noise out of nowhere, which is never great to hear, but it does happen from time to time. The Mata coming on a 29.9, as I believe Jonas did improve his lap time up into the 27s there. Let's get all the information up that we need, and of course Ali B, the only other man to set a lap time on a 1 minute 33.4. So 14 drivers in the lobby so far, and I believe in terms of drivers on a fast lap, we're going to be on board with Quinn as he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's, and now let's have a look at the exit through Chapel on to the Hanger Straight. 1 minute 3.2 in the middle sector for Quinn, and of course Quinn, one of the 2 drivers involved in the rivalries here tonight. Of course, bit of a rivalry between specialists in terms of getting P10 in the standings. The question was put to both him and specialists, saying, you guys are both on the edge of pushing into the top 10 in the championship with 2 races to go. Did you guys think you each got a chance to sneak in, and will we see some on-track fighting between you? Quinn responds saying Silverstone is one of his better tracks, so he's expecting a good result here, and Kota is hit and miss, so who knows. As a specialist, he made it a habit of getting a good race result after poor qualifying showings, so if he can show up in qualifying for once, he can definitely make it into the top 10. So obviously alluding to the fact that Specialist has always been a bit of a recovery driver, and of course Specialist responding as well, saying can't see me getting into the top 10 now, missed last week, which is my favourite track, and I'm missing Silverstone this week, which I'm not too bothered about, but we'll see how Kota goes, but I wouldn't hold my breath. as everyone else in the tier has gotten faster and I have gotten slower. So obviously Specialist alluding to the fact that he is not here tonight, so it's an opportunity for Quinn to close that gap down. And of course with that, definitely going to be something to keep an eye on, that is for sure, as the gap between them is of course 15 points between Specialist and Quinn, which could obviously be overturned here tonight, as we'll see the point system here in one hub. As I'm going to quickly get up the point system. Of course, point system here tonight, obviously 20 points for winning the race, so 17 points for second, 14 points for third, 12 points for fourth, 10 points for fifth, sixth gets 8 points, seventh gets 6 points, eighth gets 5 points, 4 points for ninth, 3 points for 10th, 2 points for 11th, and of course 1 point for 12th place. But of course, with the sprint race being the final race of the season, there is a possibility of some more points on the board in the sprint race. As we got just under 5 minutes to go in the session, I believe everyone is on a in lap right now, so they're going to be peeling off back into the pits. As there we go, and the Matters in as well. Knighton is going to be in also. But yeah, golden opportunity for Quinn to close that gap on Specialist here tonight, and obviously make the rivalry a bit spicy going into the final race of the season. Of course, in the drivers' press conference, obviously we got a chat with Ali B as well. Of course, the question was put to him. So Ali, how would you describe the way your season has gone? Has there been anything you feel you could have done better, and what do you feel you can do differently next? Of course, Ali responding, saying, I've never been able to get into the groove this season. I felt like I had the pace to compete in 3/4 races, and I'll just have a silly mistake that sets me back and make me lose confidence going forward. Feels like a good venting session, this does. I think I've been comparing myself and my driving to JM too much. He's had 1-2 attempts on my pace in quali and is years ahead of me in race pace. Next season, I just need to drive a bit steadier to start off the season, get solid points on the board and build from there. The rest of the season, I like to show off what I could do and what I can really do, even if I do have a bit of a hangover from last night, which is of course not good if you're driving with a hangover. That could be a bit of a headache. Pun absolutely intended right there. Absolutely intended. And of course, in terms of the pre-race interviews as well, of course we managed to get a word from Cam K, who is ever so vocal in the pre-race interviews. We arrived at Silverstone for the penultimate round of the championship. How do you feel going into it? It's a thumbs up from Cam. With 2 races left, are you just going to go for it and see where you end up, or play it safe? Yes, was the response from Cam. Who are you looking forward to racing against? It is the emoji with the person shrugging their shoulder saying, I don't know. Are we hoping for dry, wet or mixed conditions? And you have a setup for all these scenarios? And it's a thumbs up from Cam again. And of course, will you be trying to any bold in order to try and get up the grid a bit? And he said, we'll see. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Senna as well, saying that he feels that Silverstone is a bit of a terrible track for him, and with 2 races to go, he is obviously going to full send as always, and he's looking forward to racing against everyone, and he's hoping for similar to what he had in Spain. He'd rather have rain but tends to be quicker in the rain. In tracks he usually has skill at. And of course, try to find anything bold in order to get up the order. He said you'll race like he always does, which of course is fantastic. But we're coming on board with Senna right now as we come through Cop's Corner here, and obviously the heart of the middle sector now as we go into the tricky corners of Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. A little bit of lag there going on. Hopefully that is not on my end, and hopefully fingers crossed everything remains a-okay. We're coming through Stowe now. A little bit of traffic up ahead that should get out of the way, and does, as a little bit of bouncing around going on with Senna here as we come through the final corner club section, and of course crossing the line, and it is about a 10th off. So yeah, interesting one. Miami currently on a flying lap as well. A little bit screwy coming out of the exit of the loop, and of course running down the well-known straight now in towards Brooklands, and of course he's around about a 10th off this first sector. Will he be backing out the lap completely? Who knows? And yet he does. Realises he lost a lot of time in the first sector and doesn't want to continue on. But Cam K-Mum currently in P4, as I believe the checker flag has fallen here in the session, as Ali B crosses the line and is currently P6. We do have a Williams crossing the line of I believe that was Tom, an Alpine crossing the line of Thomas, as we have Jonas being the next man to cross the line. We've got an Alfa Romeo of the Mata, the next person to cross the line after Jonas, so we'll make sure that we are ready to jump on board with the Mata as well once we cross the line with Jonas. Jonas up in the P4, fantastic lap from the Williams driver, as the Mata now comes through the final couple of corners, and see if the Mata can get himself up there onto the front row, and he goes P2, the Mata with a fantastic lap time. Cam K to the line, and it stays, jumps up in the P3 there, a bit of a delay on the times changing, as we've got the Ferrari of Fritaldi going up into P8, the McLaren of, I believe that's Red Matt to the line, 2-10 improvement in the middle sector, and he goes on provisional pole with a 25.5. Red Matt there with a fantastic lap at the end of the session, as JM 2 temps up. We start finding a little bit more in this final sector. We've got the Mercedes pairing of Quinn and Lawrence crossing the line, no improvements from them, and JM there snags a pole position at the end with a 25.3, and that of course brings an end to qualifying here in Silverstone. JM at the end takes a pole position with a 1:25.3 at the penultimate round of the championship. Absolutely incredible stuff. And of course Senna down in P6. The Mata, his championship rival for P2, ahead of him out on the circuit, and we'll be starting directly ahead of him on track. So that is something that we will have to keep an eye on. But of course, let's run you through the order one more time. It is of course JM who takes a pole position by just over a tenth, a tenth and a half nearly, against Red Matt, who joins him on the front row. As we have Miami in P3, joined by the Mata in P4, with Cam K-Mum in P5. Senna is in P6, completing the third row, and then of course his teammate Jonas in P7, with the second Red Bull of Oshin in P8. Fatality in P9, with Ali B rounding out the top 10. Outside the top 10 will be Lawrence in 11th, Quinn in 12th, and all Mercedes 6th row right there. Thomas in 13th, and of course Knighton in 14th position. So we'll have to see how things go there. And of course Red Matt there, obviously with a fantastic result in qualifying. When we asked Red Matt the questions about how he's feeling going into this race, he said he's feeling okay. It's one of those tracks where he feels good around, but never has that leading pace. And with 2 races to go, we asked if he's going to go for it or he's going to play it safe. He said he wants to go for it. He's had a poor season. Race pace is his issue with this gen of car. And I don't know if the rear will stick. Singapore showed this. And of course he's looking forward to racing anyone out on track, and very much hoping for dry conditions, but as it is Britain, it is unexpected. Honestly, I mean, it is unexpected, the weather conditions here in Britain, but I will say you're more likely going to get dry weather in England than anywhere else in the UK, that is for sure. As wet weather conditions are more prominent in the other nations. Of course, we asked if he was going to be trying anything bold in order to get up the grid a bit. Actually, a practice for a change for once. For once, I have a chance. Hopefully, this shows today. And of course, Red Matt with a fantastic qualifying performance here tonight. And of course, once again, we'd like to shout out our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing, for providing some fantastic prizes, and of course to Aztec, as well as Pure Sim Gear, and of course the Mystery Sim Box, and of course to our partners at Vespa Twin, to ERT, and of course to Sim Grid. And let's not forget the Going Gets Tough Award, of course brought to you by ERT themselves. And of course this is how the rules go for the Going Gets Tough Award, and that is how things will be looking there, as we are currently waiting to get into the race. And yeah, we'll be going from there. Of course, 3 compound dry tyres here tonight. The C3 soft tyres, C2 mediums, of course C1 hard compound tyres, along with the intermediate and wet weather tyre compounds respectively. As we continue to wait, and honestly, the British Grand Prix, an absolute fantastic circuit to go racing at. It's one of those tracks where everyone knows very well, but of course we're going to be jumping into the action now to those 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are underway here at Silverstone. 26 laps await these drivers as Red Matt gets a very good start on those medium tyres. JM getting a little bit out of shape through the first 2 corners at Abbey and Farm, but of course able to hold it in the MP2. The matter very very slow on the approach into the loop, and Kamke almost went in the back, and that allows Oshin to really challenge his teammate around the outside, but of course unable to make a move. Ali B currently up in P7. Senna dropping down a couple of positions down into P8 on those mediums, as we got the unfortunate lag issues, of course, going on here tonight. 14 drivers out on track. So, well, going to be interesting to see how the tyre strategy comes into play as Senna loses out there to Lawrence. So down the order goes Senna. I wonder, does he have wing damage perhaps? As Quinn gets through ahead of Fatality, up in the P10 goes the Mercedes. Of course, Lawrence's teammate up in the P8 as well. Knighton, Thomas and Jonas down towards the back, and it looks like Knighton and Jonas have had big moments with each other as JM overtakes down the inside into Stowe. Job done, but no, Red Matt's going to fight him back into the Vale chicane. Neil at the inside line, which will turn to the outside for Club. And it looks like Red Matt actually able to get that move done and sorted there. And yeah, very good positioning of his car there from Red Matt, as we got the Mata down the inside into Village on Miami, unable to get that move done. That allows Oshin to go side by side into the loop, and now through Ontree and onto the Wellington Straight. The Mata, I think, has just about done enough. As you see up ahead, JM getting the job done on Red Matt, as there goes Oshin, sending one down the inside into Brooklands, and of course through left field, the Mata trying to take a tighter line to try and get his car alongside Oshin, but unable to do so. The grip on those soft tyres really coming through for the Red Bull. And of course, Silverstone being an absolute fantastic track. Everyone knows this circuit incredibly well, as it looks like Jonas again having a bit of issues, and of course making an early pit stop, so maybe there was damage on Jonas's car, as it looks like Senna taking a very cool, calm, collected approach to the start of this race, and I'm not sure how this is going to go for the Williams driver. Of course his teammate is down in 14th place, which is not ideal for him in terms of the constructors. JM sets a new fast lap of the race, as you would expect, on the soft tyres, making the overtakes happen, and of course getting into the race lead. Oshin making moves up the order, trying to get himself back into the fight for P2 in the championship. Of course, at one point in the season we were thinking Oshin could maybe challenge JM. Of course he did have the pace throughout the season, but it just wasn't happening for him in the latter stages of the season. And of course he is closing up to Miami here for the final spot on the podium. Not quite close enough to make a move into Brooklyn or into left field. And of course the traction on the exit is going to go slightly in favour of Oshin, but of course not enough, as Lawrence gets through on Ali B. Up into P7 goes the Mercedes, and absolutely flying right now is Lawrence up into P7, and he is flying towards the back of Can K Mam, who's in a bit of no man's land in P6, and of course won't have DRS to really help out here, as DRS is activated. But we'll go on board with Red Matt, who takes the lead of the race back off of JM, and there goes Lawrence through on Cam K, as Senna down the inside of Ali B. Wheel to wheel goes the AlphaTauri and the Williams, as around the outside goes Senna on Ali B, and it's going to be a lovely little switchback there from Ali B through Club, and of course a fantastic bit of battling going on between these two drivers. Incredible to see, but it's Senna who in the end comes out on top. But fantastic battling going on between these two drivers. Incredible stuff, and Ali B with much credit for that switchback manoeuvre in Club. And of course he is on the soft tyre, so he's trying to get the traction down nice and early, but unable to do it so there, as everyone up in the front lines to stern as they are, as Cam K sends one down the inside of Lawrence. Lawrence there, oh, he just could not get that switchback there, could Lawrence. You saw him looking for it, but he was unable to find it. And Oshin and Miami are sizing each other up here, and of course with them sizing each other up, it means that the top two have been able to break away from the pair of them. So we should be seeing Miami fall behind Oshin here with DRS, of course, as you see up ahead, the battling going on. The Mata is also closing in. Will he make a free ride into Stowe? He very well could have done, but he elected not to. So smart driving there from the Mata, as he looks in behind and sees that Oshin defending. As you see the little jump over the curb there from Miami, loses quite a bit of time on that curve, and of course that slows up the Mata. Lap 5 of 26. It is Red Matt who leads the race ahead of JM in second place. Oshin currently in third, as the Mata is down the inside into Village on Miami for P4, and around the outside of the loop. Tries to look for the better traction on the exit, and he is going to get the better traction. He's going to be tucked up right underneath that rear wing. Here's the Mata, but will he use enough ERS to go for the move? No, he will not. And of course Miami, that little flash of red there going into Brooklands will definitely be encouraging from the Mata's point of view. And yes, here he is immediately on the power as we go through Woodcut, and of course down the National Straight. The Mata up into P4, and with a great possibility of getting himself up ahead of Oshin as well, who he knows is low on ERS also, as we come through Maggots and of course Beckett's, and we exit through Chapel here. And of course with DRS and the abundance of ERS, the Mata is just going to fly past Oshin here. Job done, thank you very much. I'll take P3 off you boys. the Mata now up into P3. 2 seconds off the back of the top two, and it's going to be interesting to see if he's got the pace to close that gap down. Close up by a 10th just through the club section alone, but on the exit he does lose time. Of course, we've seen Oshin be quite aggressive in going for these overtakes early on in this race, and I wonder if we're going to see more of the same from him now that he's been overtaken by the Mata. He might consider wanting to save a bit of that battery up. Lap 6 of 26. A little bit of a lag moment but hopefully everything does stabilise out over the course of the time. Senna on his recovery after a pretty poor start, to be honest, obviously dropping back down towards obviously Quinn in P10 at one point, and yeah, he's trying to make his way back into this race. He's in the train for P3. He's behind Lawrence right now for P7. Of course, these guys are on the set of mediums, 3 drivers in front of them on the set of the softs, and of course the Mata leading the train on the set of mediums as well. With DRS, it's going to allow JM and Red Matt to continue the battle, but Red Matt holds the inside line through Stowe and maintains the race lead. And of course, the longer this goes on, the better it is for Red Matt, as Miami and Thomas into the pit lane. Of course, mandatory 2-stop here, so we will be seeing the soft tyres be disposed of quite quickly around this circuit, and yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see where they come out relative to the guys that have already made their pit stops in the course. Knight and Fatality, and of course Jonas, one of the longest pit lanes on the calendar. In fact, it possibly could be the longest, just in terms of the delta, the cut that you have to stick to in the pit lane. Everything appears to have settled down slightly now. Of course, with the first group of pit stops beginning to happen, JM closing in on Red Matt, and you've got to think that the overtake is coming very, very soon. And Red Matt is the first one into the pits out of these two, so Red Matt going early. Lap 7 off the medium tyres. Oshin is in, as well as Ali B, and there's a big mistake from JM as well. A rare mistake, of course, caught on stream by us there through the club section. And of course, that might just allow the Mata to get within DRS range as we go through the village now into the loop. And of course, on 3, of course, he's not going to be quite within DRS range this time around, as we're seeing Red Matt, Oshin and Ali B going to be coming out. Where they're going to be relative to Miami. Miami coming down in towards Abby now, and of course he will come out ahead of Cam K, and of course Oshin who loses out with the undercut here at this circuit. And what's going on there is Fatality and Knighton building some sandcastles there on the exit of club. Have they come together? Perhaps. Of course, both of the drivers, well down the order outside. Well, they're battling for the final point-paying position in P12. So I mean, it's definitely still the fight for something down there. But you don't want to see them off in the gravel like that. As Senna gets the overtake down the inside on Lawrence up into P3. But will Lawrence come straight back at him? JM into the pits now. Of course, JM starting on a set of softs, so he has to use a set of mediums at one point. And Red Matt can now go another set of softs towards the end of the race as well. So an interesting dynamic in the race, and of course it is the medium tyres for JM as Red Matt comes through the club section as well onto the Hamilton straight as we head down in towards Abbey, and of course making our way for the first couple of corners. Red Matt will get ahead of JM. In fact, JM could be behind Miami here. Miami's actually going to be within DRS range, so JM staying out a couple of extra laps compared to these guys behind him has actually put him on the back foot slightly, but Miami does have a time penalty to his name. So let's keep that in mind as we go deeper into this race. Cam K obviously holding on to the back of Miami. Ali B closing up to the back of Washington for P9 in this race. The top four yet to make a pit stop. Of course, top four of Lamada, Senna, Lawrence and Quinn. Both Mercedes, and of course the Williams of Senna, and of course the Alfa Romeo of Lamada. As we're seeing Lawrence of Senna battling there for P2, but who will blink into the pits first? And of course it will be Lawrence, and he'll follow the Lamada in. Senna stays out, as Quinn will also stay out, not wanting to double stack with his teammate. As Miami and Cam K close up to the back of JM. Of course, JM having the Drivers' Championship already locked up, he's not under a huge amount of pressure to go on and win races now. I mean, he will want to for personal pride reasons, but he's not under that pressure anymore to really win each and every single race now. He can afford to have a little bit of fun. He can afford to play a couple of games out there, and of course try a different strategy or two. Of course, we're seeing Cam K get a little bit out of shape there through the loop, but we shall see if Cam K will continue to close up, or if Cam K will begin to fall away now. But the Mata, after making his pit stop, comes out behind Cam K but ahead of Ali B and Oshi, which is good for him because he's managed to get himself into this train for what is net P2. As Cam K continues to close in here, holds on to the DRS, which is also crucial for Cam K, but obviously 9/10 now, starting to slip away slightly, but still holding on in there, and that is exactly what Cam K needs to do because the Mata is right there behind. Senna going on a fresh set of soft tyres. Quinn has stayed out on the mediums, and Senna will come up behind Lawrence as well. Should be ahead of Thomaso, so we'll come out in P10 as you see Jonas there getting past Fatality for P12. So the final point position going the way of the Williams driver as it currently stands. Let's have a look at the situation with penalties now. So we're seeing 5 seconds for Miami for speeding in the pit lane, of course a 3 second for Jonas in this race. The only drivers with a penalty to their name. Naita, the only man so far who has made 2 pit stops in the race, and of course Quinn yet to make a single pit stop. Everyone else has made at least one. Red Matt doing a fantastic job in terms of leading this race as Ali B picks up a 3 second time penalty. We do have permutations for second in the championship, so I'm going to get them up right now, because obviously if Senna finishes in the top 4, then of course Red Matt and Jonas can't finish second in the championship. If Senna finishes third, then of course Miami is added to that list that can't finish second in the championship. And if is third with the fastest lap, then of course Lawrence joins that trio to make it a quartet of drivers that would be unable to finish second in the championship. Of course, in this race, if Senna scores any points here tonight, I mean, essentially, Redmat and Jonas would be out of the fight for second in the championship if Senna scores points. And of course, Senna's currently P10 right now, so I mean, definitely is. You know, it's taken Redmat and of course what's called Jonas out of the championship proceedings. Of course, right now Miami's in the position that he needs to be in the net P4 in terms of staying in it with Senna down in P10. Of course, that penalty will go against him late in the race. Kamke obviously doing well as Oshin. Lawrence needs to finish P5 with the fastest lap P6 with the fastest lap if Senna is to finish 10th. And of course, Lawrence penalty free right now with Ali B up ahead with a penalty, but Senna now up into P9 right on the back of Lawrence in this race. So in terms of the drivers, obviously going to be dropping out that battle for second in the championship. As it currently stands, it will be the Williams of Jonas, the Mercedes of, the McLaren of Redmat, the Mercedes of Lawrence, and of course Miami right now, obviously in P4, and he is doing enough as Lawrence gets through on Ali B with a very crucial move there, and Senna gets through on Ali B as well. Ali B making a big mistake through Chapel, losing out 2 spots there down the DRS straight. Not looking good for the AlphaTauri, who peels off into the pits to make a second pit stop in this race. What I was going to say, obviously, with Oshin should be good to carry on. Obviously, Miami currently in P4, with Senna currently in P8. Miami needs to finish 3rd, and Lawrence needs to finish 5th with the fastest lap. As JM on the back of Redmat now for the race lead. And of course you got the Mata, who's on the back of these two as well. Slightly fresher tyres, the Mata has compared to JM. And they're running about 25% more ERS and 20% more than Redmat. So the Mata has the ERS advantage and the fresher tyres. This will be interesting as the Redmat picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that potentially could be race essentially, race winning possibilities essentially over and done with here, as JM overtakes it with DRS, but the flashing red light will of course be a big indication as Redmat there backs out of it and moves out of the way of the Mata. Not sure why Redmat done that. Maybe he was trying to peel off into the pits, but missed his opportunity to do so, so he has to stay out another lap. Or maybe he just realizes that he's no longer in this fight and he wants to get out of the way of these two up ahead. Quinn having a look down the inside of Thomas into Village, and of course looking for the better run out of the loop and through onto now side by side on the exit with DRS. It should be Quinn up into P9, and it is Quinn into P9. Good moves there from Quinn. Senna in a bit of no man's land, currently in P8, trying to chase down Oshin and of course Kamke and Lawrence for P5, 6 and 7. Bit of a gap back to well, a bit of a gap to Miami up ahead, obviously around about 2 seconds up the road, and of course 2.5 seconds up the road from him is Red Mat, as we see the Mata take the lead of the race for the first time in this race. The Mata takes the lead, and it is the Alfa Romeo now who takes command of this race, as Red Mata actually stays out again as Miami's into the pits. As is Senna. Senna also into the pits here at the end of lap 16 as... Oh, Oshin there, big snap at the rear end on the braking in towards Village, and absolute heroics there from Oshin, able to keep a hold of that car as he sees his teammate up ahead going side by side with the Mercedes of Lawrence. Lawrence up in the P4, holding off against Kamke. Kamke apparently was marginally ahead of Lawrence into the DRS detection point, which is of course on the entry in towards Village, and bit of a lag spike again there for me in the lobby as Senna has left the session, which is heartbreaking for Senna here tonight, because that means that Senna might not be able to get any points on. Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a glitch here on lap 16. Senna is indicating that he's in the pit lane, as Knighton of course making a mistake as well, but his car is on the racing line through the loop, as you see Fatality ghosting through him right there, and thankfully his car is ghosting. That is the one thing I gotta say, thankfully his car is ghosting here at that corner, because that will be off-putting for all the drivers involved in this race. JM pits and puts on another set of the medium compound tyre as Senna has joined the session, but the issue for Senna is his car is a bit glitched. So I think that is Senna completely out of it in terms of this race. As the likes of JM, Redmat, Ali B, Oshin, Miami, Jonas, Fatality, and of course Knighton all making their second pit stops, as you see Senna in a bit of an awkward situation here tonight with a bit of a glitch going on. Lap 17 of 26, the Mata continues on. He's going to stay out and obviously go on a set of softs at the end of this race. Will he actually be able to have enough time and laps to catch and overtake JM here? That will be the question. Lawrence under pressure from Kamke for P2 in this race. Of course, just another indication here of the pit stops that have been made so far. So the top 5, we'll see Thomas coming into the pits right now. So the top 4 yet to make their second mandatory pit stop in this race. And of course, everyone else has made 2 pit stops themselves, as Senna has left the session again, and his AI is, I mean, his car's glitched. There's no other word for it. I mean, his car is absolutely glitched through the loop. His car is glitched. Obviously it says he's stuck in the pit lane. There's absolutely nothing that Senna can do about it. I mean, it is heartbreaking for him, but yeah. As there we go now, the Mata and Camgate into the pits. Lawrence stays out, and of course we should be seeing Quinnen as well. As now we're going to see if the Mata on his remaining set of soft tyres, if he's got enough time, close the gap on these guys up ahead. Mata, fresh set of soft tyres, 1.3 seconds in the gap. Lap 19 of 26. Can he close it down on JM? Lawrence makes his final pit stop of this race on lap 20, as everyone now has made 2 mandatory pit stops, so we will be seeing what is going to happen. Of course, there is an issue going on with YouTube right now, which of course is showing an inability of watching the streams right now. Of course, I did have the stream open perfectly fine at the beginning of the stream, and of course I did refresh and now it isn't loading, and of course I know that there's other issues going on as well. Apparently it's an issue on YouTube, but hopefully everyone will be able to tune in and watch us back without any issues at all. As the Mata now closing in on what will be a race win for him, and a real big statement in terms of taking P2 in the standings. Of course, Senna, the glitch that he's had to endure in this race means he's not going to score any points. The Mata, though, could be taking a race win, and with that race win comes a potential fastest lap as well. Obviously right there with the Mata picking up the fastest lap, lap 21 or 26. The Mata could be putting himself in prime position to secure P2 in the standings. Of course, as it currently stands, obviously I'm going to keep an eye on the constructors as well, see if we are going to see any potential teams dropping out. Of course, the Red Bulls currently 6th and 7th. Of course, they are outscoring the Alpha Tauri. Actually, no, the Alpha Tauri is outscoring them by a considerable amount, so they are going to be closing in on that championship. The Alfa Romeo, obviously the Mata, the lone driver for them here tonight. Definitely a well, I mean, they're going to be jumping ahead of the Williams pairing, because of course right now Jonas down in P11, Senna unfortunately with the issue that he's suffering is of course out of this race and won't be scoring any points. Williams not getting the points on the board that they need. As here we go now, the battle for the race lead has begun as the Mata takes the lead of the race from JM, and we'll be crossing the line to start lap 22 of 26. Miami back up into P4 for the Aston Martin team. There's contact there between Oshin and Ali B. And will that be an incident that will be sent to the stewards post-race? Who knows? Ali B though will come into the pit, so that means that obviously the constructors now a little bit intriguing as Ali B comes into the pits and retires from the session. Complete and utter frustration there for Ali B as Oshin and Ali B come into contact with each other. Of course, Red Bull and AlphaTauri fighting for the Constructors' Championship as well. So, of course, that is a big incident and also a controversial one as well. Mercedes are currently going to be picking up a decent amount of points for them as a pairing. Oshin and Kamke, of course, in the Red Bulls are now outscoring the AlphaTauris and I believe the Alfa Romeos as well. So they'll be extending their lead in the Constructors as it currently stands. So I believe as it stands, obviously Red Bull will maintain the championship lead. AlphaTauri should hold on to P2, and of course Alfa Romeo will jump ahead of Williams now for P3, and of course Williams will drop to P4 with Mercedes will be closing that gap on P4 when they're in P5. As Jonas picks up another 3-second time penalty, so that adds more misery to his race. Meanwhile, Lamata has broken that 1 second window up ahead. But we're on board with this battle. Miami versus Oshin for P4. And of course, Redmat up the road. Obviously, he has 3 seconds to his name. Lawrence picking up a 3 second as well. So, not great for Lawrence, but potentially as Oshin and Miami there swap positions into Brooklyn as we go around the outside with Miami. He tries to get a run on Oshin here to retake P4 but unable to do so. As look at that, you got his teammate Kamke trying to get in the mix as well as we go into Cops. Kamke down the inside, absolutely fantastic, and here comes Lawrence as well. So as a little bit onto the curb in there for Miami, and that does slow them down just a little bit as Oshin, Kamke and Lawrence getting through on the the Aston Martin, as Lawrence here all the way around the outside of both Red Bulls into so fantastic from him, as Kamke going to outbrake Oshin to go around the outside into Club. And interesting. Of course, in terms of the battle for second in the championship, of course we do know that the Manta right now obviously will retake second place. The interesting thing, obviously we're standing not scoring any points. The battle between Oshin and Kamke, obviously 5 points separating the teammates in the championship. When will these two begin the battle out for the drivers' championship positions instead of just the constructors? But we will hold on as best as possible. As the four-way battle for P4 continues here. Lawrence currently holds that position with Kamke ahead of Oshin and ahead of Miami. As we move on to the penultimate lap of the race, the Mata is leading the way, doing a fantastic job for himself, and that obviously will take P2 in the championship and now going into the final round of the standings. So we will see how all that goes for him, and of course JM, obviously the championship winner. He'll be happy with a P2. Red Mat, obviously, P3 obviously would have hoped for a little bit more, but it is the way it goes from time to time here in One Hub Racing. Of course, Lawrence having a good race, but that penalty will drop him behind the three drivers he's currently ahead of. Kamke ahead of Oshin is actually gonna bunch them up even closer in the driver's standings. I believe Kamke will gain a couple of points, and obviously they came into tonight's race 5 points apart. Quinn with a 3-second time penalty at the end of this race, causes 1.7 seconds ahead of Thomas, who also has a penalty, but Quinn currently in P8. Holding on, and is going to close up on Specialist, who is here tonight as the final lap of the race is underway. The Mata leads the way from JM in second place, Red Mat in third, with Lawrence in fourth, Kamke Mum in fifth, Oshin in sixth, Miami in seventh, Quinn in eighth, Thomas in ninth, Jonas in 10th, Fatality 11th, and Knighton on course to pick up another point playing position in P12. Senna's AI is still glitched there on the apex of the loop. Closing up. In fact, Joe, we're going to go on board with we're going to stay on board with the Mata as he will bring us through to end this race. Of course, a fantastic win from the Mata, retakes P2 in the championship with a fantastic and emphatic win in the end. JM will cross the line in P2, and he'll be joined on the podium by, of course, Red Mat, as Knighton actually sets the fastest lap. So he steals it away from the Mata as Kamke will come through in P4. Miami just sneaks ahead of Oshin for P5 there. And that is big for the Aston Martin, gets ahead of Oshin. And again, that closes the gap even more between Kamke and Oshin in the drivers. Lawrence comes through in P7 with Quinn in P8. Thomas P9, as we got Jonas about to round out the top 10. Obviously, Fatality will be running around in 11th as we wait for him to cross the line as well. Of course, it's been a long old race for Fatality here as Jonas does take P10. And we will wait for Fatality to come around to complete this race. Apologies to everyone who was hoping to tune into the live stream and that, but it is an unfortunate issue, of course, on the platform at the moment where the stream is just not loading. I mean, we're fine, we're perfectly live, everything looking good on OBS, and of course it is coming through on the stream itself. It's just unfortunate issue going on YouTube right now, but obviously you guys will be able to watch this back on the playback after this race and obviously be able to enjoy the race for all it's worth. And of course the Mata taking a fantastic victory, and of course he will be getting my driver of the day as well, the Mata will. And my question for the Mata will be, with a fantastic race win here, you retake second in the Drivers' Championship and put yourself in a strong position to hold on to second in the standings. But how important is it going to be for you around the final race at Coda to hold on to second? And also, are you looking at the constructors as well as a possibility of climbing some positions because you have got ahead of the Williams pairing now? So that would be my question towards the Matter. Obviously a little two-part question, so hopefully we get that done. But it is the Matter who takes the race win ahead of JM in second place, Red Matt in third with Cam Kate in fourth, Miami in fifth with Oshin in sixth, Lawrence in seventh with Quinn in eighth, Thomas in 9th, Jonas running at the top 10 with Fatality in 11th, and Nathan with the fastest lap in 12th place. Our non-finishers were, of course, Ali B and Senna here tonight, and of course that is the way things will end. And my god, what a interesting race that was. I mean, I can't lie, the glitch for Senna, incredibly unfortunate, and of course the incident between Oshin and Ali B, which I think potentially could be a intriguing one to see what happens in the stewarding office if it does get reported. But yeah, I mean, Ali B completely wasn't happy. He came straight into the pits and retired from the session. So definitely not happy with how that went down. And of course, JM obviously doing the consistent job as always up there in the top two positions, and the Matter with a fantastic race win as well, making it back-to-back race wins for the Matter, really closing out this season fantastically as well. So of course next week we will be on a break week, but we will be back for the season finale, round number 12 at the Circuit of Americas on the 12th of November. To repeat, that is the 12th of November, so that is in 2 weeks time. So no race next week, but we will be back the following week for the final race of the season, and it is a sprint race. Of course it is, as we will be going around with a little more at stake, of course, with the sprint race points and everything like that. It is going to be one of those races where it is everything to play for. But a massive congratulations to the Matter for the race win here tonight, and of course puts himself in a strong position to take P2 in the standings. But that should about wrap it up here tonight. Of course, one more time we'd like to go through and thank our sponsors at Next Level Racing for providing some fantastic prizes for the drivers this season. Of course, to Aztec as well as Pure Sim Gear, and of course the Mystery Sim Box, and of course to our partners at Vespertin, and of course to ERT as well as Sim Grid as well. And of course we do have the Going It Gets Tough award brought to you by Elite Racing Team as well. Of course, some fantastic prizes on offer there, and of course an explanation there on how you are in with a chance of winning that. Of course, ERT and Aztec, they working in collaboration for that one. But yeah, that will bring an end to the action here in Silverstone. It was just myself, but tonight, hopefully next week we will be back with Omnicoms of course having to fill in for P3 here tonight, but hopefully we'll have him back in a fortnight's time for the season finale. But until then guys, I have been Michael Edwards, and we'll catch you in a fortnight's time as we head to the season finale at the Circuit of the Americas for the United States Grand Prix. But until then guys, it is goodbye from me.